The golden morning sun slowly crept through the tall, fancy windows of Kensington Palace. Catherine, who everyone calls Kate, stood in her huge bedroom, looking at all her beautiful clothes hanging in the wardrobe. Today was a very special day, and she needed to look perfect. Her helper, Mary, had already picked out 3 different outfits and placed them carefully on the big bed. Kate walked over to touch each dress. The first one was bright red with shiny buttons. The second was soft pink with pretty flowers on it. But the third one caught her eye right away. It was a lovely navy blue coat dress that looked both fancy and friendly at the same time. She held it up against herself and smiled in the mirror. This was the one. Down the hall in his office, Prince William sat at his big wooden desk. Papers were spread everywhere, and his phone kept ringing. His assistant James was reading him the list of things they had to do today. William nodded and made notes in his small book. He wanted everything to go smoothly. He looked at his watch and saw they had 2 hours before leaving. Meanwhile, the sounds of children laughing and running filled the long hallways of the palace. Prince George, the oldest at 10 years old, was trying to help his little brother Louis get dressed. But Louis, who was only 5, kept running away without his shoes on. He thought it was a fun game. Princess Charlotte, who was 8, sat very still while her nanny brushed her long hair. She was looking at herself in the mirror and practicing her royal wave. She lifted her hand up and moved it back and forth slowly, just like her mommy taught her. Charlotte loved getting dressed up for special events. The palace was like a busy beehive that morning. Maids were polishing the floors until they shined like glass. Guards in their red uniforms checked all the doors and windows. The kitchen staff was preparing a quick breakfast for the family before they left. Kate finished getting dressed and looked at herself one more time in the full-length mirror. The navy blue dress fit her perfectly. She put on her favorite pearl earrings and a simple necklace. Her hair was styled in soft waves that framed her face nicely. She looked like a real princess, which of course she was. William came into their bedroom wearing his best dark suit. He was fixing his blue tie when he saw Kate. His face lit up with a big smile. Even after all these years of marriage, she still took his breath away. He walked over and gave her a gentle kiss on the cheek, being careful not to mess up her makeup. The children finally came running into their parents' room. George looked very handsome in his navy blazer and gray pants. His hair was combed neatly to one side. Charlotte looked like a little angel in her flowery dress with a matching cardigan. Her hair was pulled back with a pretty blue ribbon. But Louis was a different story. His shirt was only half tucked in, one sock was up and one was down, and his hair stuck up in 3 different directions. Kate laughed and knelt down to fix his clothes while William tried to smooth down his messy hair. The family dog, a sweet golden retriever, came wagging into the room. The children got excited and started petting him, which made their clothes wrinkled again. Kate and William looked at each other and laughed. Even royal families had crazy morning moments just like everyone else. As they got ready to leave their private rooms and go downstairs, Kate took a deep breath. She knew that in a few minutes, cameras would be watching their every move. But right now, in this quiet moment, they were just a normal family getting ready for their day together. The morning preparations were almost complete, and soon the whole world would see the Wales family in all their royal glory. Outside the big palace doors, something amazing was happening in the stone courtyard. 3 shiny black cars were slowly driving into position, their engines purring quietly like sleeping cats. The first car was the biggest and most beautiful Range Rover anyone had ever seen. It was so clean and polished that people could see their faces reflected in its doors like a mirror. The palace workers had been awake since 5 in the morning, making sure everything was perfect. They washed and cleaned each car 3 times until not a single spot of dirt could be found anywhere. The tires were so black and shiny they looked brand new. Even the windows sparkled like diamonds in the morning sunshine. Behind the main car, 2 more vehicles waited in a neat straight line. These cars carried the special guards who kept the royal family safe wherever they went. The guards wore dark suits and sunglasses, and they spoke to each other through tiny microphones that no one else could see. They looked very serious and important as they checked their watches and talked in quiet voices. The drivers of all three cars were very special people too. They had trained for months to learn how to drive the royal family safely through the busy streets of London. Each driver knew every road, every shortcut, and every traffic light in the whole city. They'd practiced driving the same routes over and over until they could do it with their eyes closed. One of the drivers, a kind man named Robert, walked around the main car one more time. He checked that all four doors opened and closed smoothly. He made sure the seats were comfortable and that bottles of water were ready inside. He even checked that the air conditioning was working perfectly so the family would not get too hot or cold during their journey. The palace security chief, a tall woman named Sarah, stood in the middle of the courtyard holding a clipboard. She was like the conductor of an orchestra, making sure everyone knew exactly what they were supposed to do. She spoke into her radio, checking with guards at different places around London to make sure the roads were safe and clear. Palace staff members hurried back and forth carrying last-minute things to the cars. One person brought a small bag with snacks for the children. Another brought tissues and hand sanitizer. A third person carried an umbrella just in case it started to rain, even though the sky was bright blue without a single cloud. The red carpet was being rolled out from the palace door to where the main car waited. Two men in white gloves made sure it lay perfectly flat, with no bumps or wrinkles. This red carpet would be where the royal family would walk, and millions of people around the world would see it on television and in newspapers. Camera crews were already setting up their equipment behind the metal barriers. They wanted to get the best pictures of the family leaving the palace. Some photographers had been waiting there since 6 in the morning, drinking coffee from paper cups and eating sandwiches while they waited for the perfect moment. The morning air was fresh and cool, and birds were singing in the tall trees around the palace grounds. Everything felt peaceful and calm, but there was also an excitement in the air. Everyone could feel that something special was about to happen. Radio voices crackled as the security team made their final checks. Car engines stayed running quietly, ready to move at a moment's notice. The convoy was completely ready, looking like a scene from an important movie, waiting for the royal family to appear and begin their journey through London. Back inside the warm palace, the Wales family was having the same kind of mourning that happens in homes everywhere, except their home happened to be one of the most famous buildings in the world. Princess Charlotte stood in front of her bedroom mirror, not happy at all with how her hair ribbon looked. She had tried it 3 different ways, and still was not satisfied. Kate walked into Charlotte's room with a patient smile on her face. Being a mother of 3 children had taught her that sometimes the smallest things could become the biggest problems. She knelt down next to Charlotte and gently took the blue ribbon from her hands. "Let me help you, sweetheart," Kate said softly. She carefully tied the ribbon in Charlotte's hair, making sure it matched her pretty dress perfectly. Charlotte looked at herself in the mirror and finally smiled. Now she felt ready to be a princess. Meanwhile, Prince Louis was in his room playing with his collection of toy cars instead of putting on his shoes. He had lined up all his red cars, then all his blue cars, and was making vrooming sounds as he pushed them around the carpet. He had completely forgotten that they needed to leave soon. Prince George, being the responsible big brother, went to Louis's room to help him get ready. But when George tried to take the toy cars away, Louis started to giggle and run around the room. Soon both boys were laughing and chasing each other, and George forgot all about helping his little brother get dressed. Kate could hear all the noise coming from down the hallway. She shook her head and smiled, remembering that even royal children were still just children. She walked to Louis's room and found both boys sitting on the floor, completely distracted by the toy cars. "Boys, we need to get ready now," Kate said in her gentle but firm voice. She helped Louis put on his shoes, while George finally remembered he was supposed to be the helper, not the one causing trouble. George stood up and smoothed down his blazer, trying to look grown up again. William appeared in the doorway, checking his expensive watch. He looked very handsome in his dark suit, but there was a tiny wrinkle of worry on his forehead. Royal events had to start exactly on time, and he knew that hundreds of people were already waiting for them outside. "How are we doing, darling?" William asked Kate, who was now brushing Louis's hair for the second time that morning. "Almost ready," Kate replied with a laugh. "Just the usual morning adventure." From somewhere deep in the palace came the sound of their family dog barking happily. The dog always got excited when he sensed that something special was happening. His barking echoed through the long hallways and made the children giggle even more. Charlotte came running to show her parents how beautiful she looked with her ribbon tied perfectly. She did a little spin to make her dress twirl around her, feeling very proud of herself. Kate and William both told her she looked absolutely lovely, which made Charlotte beam with happiness. The palace staff could be heard moving around in the halls outside, getting everything ready for the family's big exit. Footsteps echoed on the marble floors as people hurried to make final preparations. But inside the family's private rooms, it still felt like a normal home where parents were trying to get their children ready for an important day. Despite living in a palace with hundreds of rooms and dozens of servants, moments like these reminded everyone that the Wales family was just like any other family, dealing with ribbon troubles, toy car distractions, and the challenge of getting everyone out the door on time. The big palace doors slowly opened, and suddenly everything changed from a normal family morning into something magical and special. Kate appeared first, looking absolutely beautiful in her navy blue dress that moved gracefully in the gentle morning breeze. The sunshine made her hair glow like gold, and her smile was warm and bright as she looked at the small crowd of people who had come to see them. William walked beside her, tall and handsome in his perfectly fitted dark suit. His tie was straight, his hair was neat, and he carried himself like the future king he would one day become. But his eyes were kind and friendly as he waved to the people who had been waiting patiently behind the metal barriers. The three children followed closely behind their parents, each one showing their own special personality. Prince George walked with growing confidence, remembering all the lessons he had learned about how to behave in public. His blazer looked perfect, and his hair stayed neatly combed, making him look like a proper young prince. Princess Charlotte practically bounced with excitement as she walked, her flowery dress swaying with each step. She loved seeing all the people who had come to watch them, and she waved enthusiastically with both hands. Her blue ribbon stayed perfectly in place, just the way she had wanted it to look. Little Prince Louis walked between wonder and shyness, his eyes wide as he took in all the cameras and people calling their names. Sometimes he would wave, and sometimes he would hold tight to his mother's hand. His shirt was tucked in properly now, and his hair was finally smooth and neat. The small crowd of royal fans who had gathered that morning started cheering and calling out good morning when they saw the family. Some people held up their phones to take pictures, while others simply waved and smiled. There were grandmothers who had been following the royal family for decades, young mothers with their own children, and tourists who felt very lucky to be in the right place at the right time. Kate and William paused at the top of the red carpet, allowing the official photographers to capture the perfect picture. Kate's dress looked even more beautiful in the natural sunlight, and William's suit was crisp and elegant. The children stood nicely for a moment, remembering their royal training, before their natural energy started to show again. As they walked down the red carpet toward their waiting car, palace staff members bowed slightly and smiled. These were people who saw the family every day, but they still felt proud and happy to be part of this special moment. The security guards stayed alert but relaxed, knowing that this was a friendly crowd of royal supporters. William reached the car first and immediately turned to open the door for Kate, just like a true gentleman. This simple act of kindness had become their signature move, and people loved seeing how much William cared for his wife. Kate smiled at him with genuine love and gratitude as she gracefully stepped into the car. The children climbed into the car with practiced ease, though Louis could not resist pressing his face against the window to wave at a little girl in the crowd who was calling his name. Charlotte settled into her seat like a proper princess, while George made sure his little brother was sitting safely. Camera flashes sparkled like tiny stars as photographers captured every moment of the departure. The pictures they took would be seen by millions of people around the world within the next few hours, showing everyone how lovely and happy the royal family looked together. The departure had been planned and practiced many times, but it still felt natural and genuine. This was not just a royal duty or a photo opportunity. It was a real family sharing a special moment with people who cared about them. The three black cars pulled away from Kensington Palace like a slow-moving parade, gliding smoothly through the palace gates and onto the busy streets of London. The lead car carried the precious royal family, while the other two cars followed closely behind with their security teams always watching and ready. Inside the main car, the Wales family finally had a few quiet minutes together away from cameras and crowds. Kate pointed out the window at famous buildings they were passing, turning their journey into a fun learning experience for the children. She showed them the tall clock tower of Big Ben in the distance and explained how it had been telling time for people in London for more than 150 years. William joined in the geography lesson, telling the children stories about different areas of their city. When they drove past Hyde Park, he explained how people had been riding horses and having picnics there for hundreds of years. The children listened with interest, asking questions about everything they saw from their comfortable seats. Princess Charlotte pressed her nose against the car window, fascinated by all the red double-decker buses and black taxicabs that were part of normal London life. She had ridden in royal cars many times, but she always enjoyed watching regular people going about their daily activities. She waved at children walking to school with their backpacks, and some of them recognized her and waved back excitedly. Prince George asked thoughtful questions about the old stone buildings they passed. He wanted to know how long it took to build them and why some were so much taller than others. William patiently answered each question, proud of his son's curiosity about their city's history and architecture. Little Prince Louis provided entertainment for the whole family with his running commentary on everything he spotted outside. He got excited about construction cranes, pointing and saying, "Look at that big yellow machine." He counted red buses and tried to wave at every dog he saw being walked on the sidewalks. His enthusiasm was infectious, making everyone in the car smile and laugh. The police escort cars moved smoothly ahead of them, gently managing the traffic to create a clear path without causing too much disruption to regular Londoners trying to get to work. Traffic lights seemed to turn green at just the right moments, and other cars politely moved aside to let the royal convoy pass through. People on the sidewalks began to notice the official cars with their special flags, and some stopped to wave when they realized the royal family was inside. Word spread quickly through the crowd, and more people gathered at street corners hoping to catch a glimpse of Kate, William, and the children through the car windows. The journey took them past some of London's most beautiful parks, where the trees were dressed in their full spring colors. Flowers bloomed in carefully tended gardens, and the morning sunshine made everything look fresh and new. Kate pointed out different types of flowers to Charlotte, who loved learning about nature and gardening. As they drove through different neighborhoods, the family could see the diversity and energy that made London such a special city. Street markets were setting up for the day, cafes were opening their doors, and people from all over the world were beginning their daily routines in this historic but modern city. The children were comfortable and happy during the ride, enjoying this special time with their parents without the usual interruptions of palace duties and royal schedules. These precious family moments in the car were some of their favorite parts of official trips, when they could just be together and enjoy each other's company while watching their city go by outside the windows. All across London, something exciting was happening as news of the royal family's journey spread like wildfire through social media and news networks. People checking their phones during their morning coffee breaks suddenly saw photos of Kate, William, and the children leaving Kensington Palace, and the pictures were being shared thousands of times every minute. Royal fans who followed the family schedule religiously started getting text messages and notifications from their friends. Mrs. Thompson, an elderly lady who had been watching the royals for 50 years, quickly grabbed her coat and hurried to catch a bus to the area where she thought the family might be heading. She was not the only one with this idea. At coffee shops and offices around the city, people stopped their conversations to look at the latest photos on their phones. Coworkers gathered around computer screens to see the pictures of the family's stylish departure. Everyone had something to say about how beautiful Kate looked in her navy dress, or how much the children had grown since the last time they appeared in public. Television news stations interrupted their regular morning programs to show live footage of the royal convoy moving through London streets. News anchors excitedly described every detail they could see, from the shine on the cars to the way Kate had waved to the crowd. Millions of people in Britain and around the world were now watching and waiting to see where the family was going. Professional photographers who made their living taking pictures of the royal family were racing through London on motorcycles and in cars, trying to get to the best positions before the convoy arrived. They knew that one perfect photograph could be worth thousands of pounds and would be published in newspapers and magazines around the world. High above the city, news helicopters circled at a safe distance, their cameras pointed down at the 3 black cars moving through the streets below. The helicopter pilots were experts at following royal convoys without getting too close or causing any safety concerns. Their live footage was being broadcast to television viewers everywhere. Social media was absolutely buzzing with excitement and speculation. Royal watchers were trying to guess where the family was heading by analyzing the route they were taking. Some people posted maps with arrows showing the possible destinations, while others shared their favorite photos of Kate's outfit from previous royal events. Fashion bloggers were already writing articles about Kate's navy blue coat dress, trying to identify which designer had created it and where people might be able to buy something similar. Within an hour, searches for navy blue dresses had increased by 500% on shopping websites as people tried to copy Kate's elegant style. The hashtag #RoyalFamiliar started trending on social media platforms, with people from around the world sharing their thoughts and excitement about seeing William, Kate, and the children together. Comments poured in from royal fans in Australia, Canada, the United States, and dozens of other countries, all expressing their love for the family. News websites were updating their stories every few minutes with new photos and information about the royal outing. Entertainment reporters were calling their contacts, trying to find out more details about the purpose of the family's trip and how long they would be out in public. Radio stations were taking calls from listeners who claimed to have spotted the royal convoy dragging through their neighborhoods. Traffic reporters were giving updates about which roads were temporarily busy due to the royal movement, advising regular commuters about alternative routes to take. The excitement was building to a fever pitch as people realized this was not just a quick trip, but a proper royal outing where the family would likely spend time meeting with the public and posing for official photographs. The royal convoy began to slow down as it approached a beautiful community center surrounded by colorful spring gardens and excited crowds of people. Hundreds of royal fans had gathered behind carefully placed metal barriers, many holding small British flags and homemade signs welcoming the family. Children sat on their parents' shoulders to get a better view, while elderly royal supporters had brought folding chairs to wait comfortably. The 3 black cars came to a smooth and elegant stop in perfect formation, like dancers finishing a choreographed performance. Immediately, the atmosphere became electric with anticipation and joy. Camera flashes began sparkling like fireworks as photographers captured the moment of arrival from every possible angle. Security personnel moved quickly but calmly into their planned positions around the cars and throughout the crowd area. They were like invisible guardians, always present but never interfering with the happy mood of the day. Event organizers made final adjustments to red carpets and flower arrangements, ensuring everything looked perfect for the royal family's first steps out of their car. The driver of the main car stepped out first and walked around to open the door for the family. William emerged first, looking confident and relaxed as he straightened his jacket and looked around at the welcoming crowd. His smile was genuine and warm as he acknowledged the cheering people with a friendly wave. Then William turned back to the car and extended his hand to help Kate step out gracefully. This simple gesture of courtesy and love had become one of their most recognized and beloved habits. Kate accepted his hand with a grateful smile, and as she stepped onto the pavement, her navy blue dress looked absolutely perfect, having traveled beautifully without a single wrinkle. The crowd erupted in cheers and applause when they saw Kate in person. She looked even more radiant and elegant than in photographs, and her natural beauty and warmth immediately captivated everyone watching. She began waving to the crowd with her characteristic grace, making eye contact with individuals and making each person feel personally acknowledged. The children followed their parents out of the car, each one handling the attention and excitement in their own special way. Prince George stepped out with growing confidence, remembering his royal training but also showing his natural personality. He waved politely to the crowd and stayed close to his father, observing everything with intelligent curiosity. Princess Charlotte practically glowed with happiness as she emerged from the car. She loved these public events and was not at all shy about the cameras and crowds. She waved enthusiastically at the many children in the crowd who were calling her name and holding up signs with hearts and flowers drawn on them. Her joy was infectious and made everyone smile. Little Prince Louis looked around with wide eyes at all the people and excitement surrounding them. Sometimes he waved confidently, and sometimes he seemed a bit overwhelmed by all the attention. He stayed close to his mother, holding her hand when he felt uncertain, but also showing moments of brave independence. The family paused together for a moment, allowing the official photographers to capture the perfect arrival picture that would be published in newspapers around the world the next morning. They looked like a picture-perfect royal family, elegant and united, but also approachable and genuinely happy to be there. The cheering from the crowd continued as people expressed their excitement and affection for this beloved family. Signs reading, "We love you," and "Welcome" were held high, and the atmosphere was filled with pure joy and celebration. This was exactly the kind of moment that reminded everyone why the royal family remained so special and important to so many people around the world. Instead of rushing straight to their official duties, the Wales family did something that showed exactly why they had become so beloved by people everywhere. They walked directly to the crowd barriers to spend real time talking and connecting with the people who had come to see them. This was not just a quick photo opportunity, but a genuine chance to meet and greet their supporters. Kate moved along the barrier line like a natural-born people person, stopping to talk with individuals of all ages. When a small girl in a pink dress held up a hand-drawn picture of the royal family, Kate knelt down to the child's level and spent several minutes admiring the artwork and asking questions about it. The little girl beamed with pride and excitement, creating a memory she would treasure forever. An elderly gentleman who had been a royal supporter for over 60 years was thrilled when Kate stopped to chat with him. He told her about meeting her late mother-in-law, Princess Diana, many years ago, and Kate listened with genuine interest and warmth. She thanked him for his decades of support and loyalty, making him feel truly valued and appreciated. William walked alongside the barrier on the other side, his tall height making him easily visible to everyone in the crowd. He had a natural ability to make people laugh and feel comfortable, sharing jokes and stories with royal fans who had traveled from far away just to meet him. When a teenage boy nervously asked for a selfie, William politely explained the protocol, but made sure to have a proper conversation with the young man instead. The children were also participating in these public interactions, guided by their parents' wonderful example. Princess Charlotte was especially delighted to meet other young girls who looked up to her as a role model. She complimented their dresses and hair ribbons, making each child feel special and important. Her natural kindness and confidence charmed everyone she met. Prince George was showing more confidence with each public appearance, engaging in conversations about school and sports with children his own age. When a boy asked him about his favorite football team, George smiled and answered enthusiastically, showing that despite being a prince, he was still a regular kid who loved the same things other children enjoyed. Little Prince Louis had moments of shyness mixed with surprising boldness. When he saw a toddler crying in the crowd, he waved specifically at that child and made funny faces until the little one stopped crying and started giggling instead. His natural empathy and sweetness touched the hearts of everyone watching. Kate accepted many beautiful bouquets of flowers from children and adults in the crowd. She made sure to smell each bouquet and comment on how lovely they were, showing genuine appreciation for the thoughtful gifts. Her arms became full of colorful flowers, creating a beautiful picture of gratitude and connection. The conversations were brief but meaningful, with the royal family making each person feel heard and valued. They asked about people's families, their travels to see the royals, and their lives in general. These were not scripted interactions, but real human connections between the royal family and the people they serve. Security personnel watched carefully but allowed these interactions to continue naturally, understanding that this personal connection with the public was one of the most important parts of royal duties. The barriers kept everyone safe while still allowing for genuine conversations and moments of joy. Photographers captured hundreds of beautiful images of these interactions, showing the world how the Wales family balanced their royal dignity with authentic warmth and accessibility. These pictures would be shared millions of times on social media, spreading happiness and positive feelings about the royal family to people around the globe. The crowd's energy remained high and positive throughout these meetings, with people feeling grateful for the time and attention they received from their beloved royal family. As the Wales family finally moved toward their official engagement inside the community center, the magical effects of their stylish arrival continued to spread far beyond the cheering crowd and clicking cameras. The impact of this single royal appearance would be felt for days, weeks, and even months around the world. Within minutes of the first photographs being taken, social media platforms were flooded with images and videos of the family's arrival. The pictures were being shared, liked, and commented on by millions of people across the globe. Royal fans in Australia were waking up to see the photos with their morning coffee, while people in America were sharing them during their lunch breaks. Fashion websites and magazines were working at lightning speed to identify and feature Kate's navy blue coat dress. Online searches for similar dresses increased dramatically as women everywhere wanted to copy her elegant and timeless style. Fashion bloggers were already predicting that navy blue would become the most popular color for spring dresses, all because of Kate's perfect choice that morning. The children's coordinated outfits were also creating waves in the fashion world. Parenting websites praised Kate and William for dressing their children appropriately for the occasion, while still allowing their individual personalities to shine through. Children's clothing stores reported increased interest in blazers for boys and floral dresses for girls, inspired by George and Charlotte's adorable looks. News organizations around the world were preparing comprehensive coverage of the royal outing for their evening broadcasts and next day's newspapers. The arrival photos would appear on front pages from London to Tokyo, showing how much global interest and affection existed for this young royal family. Royal commentators and experts were already analyzing the significance of this public appearance on television shows and radio programs. They discussed how the family's natural warmth and genuine interactions with the public continued to modernize and strengthen the image of the British monarchy for future generations. The economic impact of royal appearances, like this one, was also significant. Tourism to London would likely increase as people hoped to visit the same places the royal family had been. Local businesses near the community center were already seeing increased interest from visitors wanting to experience the same area where they had witnessed this special royal moment. School children who had been in the crowd would go home and write essays about meeting the royal family, creating memories and stories they would share for the rest of their lives. Teachers would use the photos and videos in their lessons about British history and government, helping students understand the role of modern monarchy. The positive feelings generated by this appearance would strengthen public support for the royal family during both good times and challenging periods. The genuine connections made during those precious minutes of public interaction created lasting bonds between the monarchy and the people they serve. International media coverage would reinforce Britain's soft diplomatic power, showing the world a modern, relatable royal family that represented the best values of their country. The images of William, Kate, and their children would appear in magazines and news programs from dozens of countries, spreading British culture and values globally. Most importantly, this single morning had demonstrated once again why the Wales family represented the future of the British monarchy. They had successfully combined royal tradition and dignity with accessibility and genuine human warmth. Their ability to connect with people of all ages and backgrounds, while maintaining their regal bearing, showed why they remained beloved by millions. The lasting impact of their stylish arrival would continue long after the cars had driven away and the crowds had gone home, proving that sometimes the most powerful royal moments are the simplest ones shared between a loving family and the people who support them.